For joining us here on KTN News Center. Now to another story where the mass deaths of fish in Lake Victoria recently caused a panic among fishermen who depend on the fish for their livelihood. Panicked fishermen were recently baffled to find thousands of dead fish beached on the shoreline. Now, Kevin Ogutu is at the lake with an update. Kevin Ogutu, good morning. Has the situation changed?
Very good morning, Brenda. I'm right here at Dunga Beach in Kisumu County, but this has not been reported here yet. We've had the incident of fish found dead and floating on the surface of Lake Victoria in other parts of the expansive Lake Victoria. It started in Uganda in January, and then somewhere like 3 weeks ago, we had the same incident in parts of the Usenga side of Lake Victoria and also the Homa Bay side of Lake Victoria. So what's happening is that this is something that from the reports that we're getting, it's like there is a decline in the number of the Nile perch fish. Actually, this is the variety that is becoming the major casualty when it comes to this massive death of fish on Lake Victoria. And just to find out what was going on in the lake, because we have the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute based in Kisumu, and one of the directors told us that it is because of upwelling, which means that one of the problems that come with global warming. And so I'll try to explain that, given that he was quite elaborate in explaining that to us. And he was talking about the global warming bringing stratification on the lake, so that we have got the upper layer, which is warm, and the lower layer, which is cold. And then at some point, these two layers do not mix. And because of that, the lower layer is deprived of oxygen. So when we have the lower layer coming up, then it comes when it is deficient of oxygen. And given that Nile perch is a heavy consumer of oxygen, then it becomes the biggest casualty. But I'm here with Jared Odik, who is a fisherman born fishing. This is something that you people say that is not exactly new. You experienced it last year. It's only that this time around it was a bit too much. Yeah. Tell us about this, from what you understand, and then what's the latest from the reports that you've got, in as much as it has not happened here in Dunga.
Okay, guys, what I can say, this Lake Victoria, it's a lake which is being shared by 3 countries, and it's a resource that society have. We here living in Dunga, it's my village, and what I can see so far, my dad have been with me in fishing when I was a young boy, and now what I can say is that the kind of fish we have here, we have tilapia, we have Nile perch and helicopter fish and other stuffs. And the kind of fishing that the society is using somehow is not that good. That's why they cannot make a lot of money. And the fish of which we have fishermen that sometimes go at night and they do fishing, and the kind of fish trap they are using is not that advisable, because I see sometimes even in the morning they're selling the small fish, and these small fish, when we keep them so that they are big, what will they benefit as a society? So me as a young boy, I question.
Now let's talk about the fish found dead floating on the surface of Lake Victoria, along the shorelines. The dead fish, that is. Okay. Is it the first time you're hearing about this?
Okay. Actually, when I'm growing, sometimes we have some dead fish floating in the lake, and we don't know. I don't know what have made them.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is Jackton, if I'm not wrong, explaining to us from a fisherman's point of view, and that is the much that we have to report. Back to you in studio, Brenda.
Thank you so much. I bring in the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, that is KEMFRI, Director James Njiru. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on KTN News Center. So you're talking about fish dying. How dire is the situation as we speak?
My name is James Njiru, Director Kenya Marine. The situation is not dire. Fish kills is normally a natural phenomenon which occurs every year. It's only that this year, due to climatic changes, it occurred in a time when we did not expect it. But it's a natural thing which occurs in most lakes in the world. And mostly is due to what we call stratification. Normally, the waters of any lake is divided in two layers. And the denser one is normally on top, and the lighter one, the denser one is on the bottom, and the lighter one is on the top. And usually, the lighter one, which is on top, has more oxygen. So what happens during mixing, what we call upwelling, the oxygenated waters normally come up and mix up with the one with oxygen. Nile tilapia normally requires a lot of oxygen, about 5 milligrams per liter dissolved oxygen. So when it encounters levels of oxygen which are lower than these, in normal circumstances, the fish will normally suffocate. And that's what has happened in Lake Victoria, suffocation of fish. It is only in some small areas, pockets. It's not widespread in the lake. That's what happened. But the fish, as from our research, the fish is okay. It's not a big problem as you speak now.
And apart from lack of, oxygen that's caused the fish to die, what is the other cause of the mass deaths of fish in Lake Victoria?
The other problem or challenge we have in Lake Victoria is what we call eutrophication in science, or pollution. Lake Victoria, the catchment goes all the way to Nandi and other areas, and there is a lot of organic debris, organic nutrients from farms, fertilizers, and the less. So when they come into the lake, they fertilize the lake, the nutrients increase what we call phytoplankton, or the algae. The algae grow very fast, and when they die, in any death of plants in water, they require oxygen. So they deplete the oxygen levels in the lake. And again, once I say the oxygen requirement for Nile perch is quite high, 5 milligrams per liter. That's why you see the only fish which died was only Nile perch. There was no Nile tilapia, there was no lungfish and other fish. So basically, the two common phenomena is because of stratification or division of layers of water, where the top layer is more oxygenated than the lower one, and also because of dying of plants. There is also water hyacinth in the lake, which is also dying, and in the death, it consumes oxygen. That's why we have been having some pockets, I would say some pockets of fish dying in the lake. It's not massive as such.
Now that the government has identified, Kemfree has identified the real cause as to why the fish is dying in masses, so what plan does the government have to ensure that this becomes a thing of the past in Lake Victoria?
Thank you very much. As government, what we have, or what we normally require people to do, because the phenomenon in the lake is external, mostly because of the nutrients I've talked about. First and foremost, afforestation will be very key. Planting of more trees. One, to be weed breakers, because what happened in January and December was because of the breaking of what we call the layers and the mixing. So if this one is prevented by planting more trees, we'll be having less weed entering the lake. Again, as I said earlier on, in terms of debris, in terms of fertilizers which are coming upstream, if afforestation and the proper farming methods which do not allow things like fertilizers finding their way into the lake, will be very instrumental in reducing the mass kills in the lake, because there will be no nutrient entering the lake as such.
All right.
Brenda.
All right, and this is not the first time this is happening in the country. We've seen it happen in Lake Naivasha, Lake Nakuru, but then it begs the question one would ask, is the fish safe for eating?
The fish, one, I would say, if fish is dying or has died, it is not bad for eating. However, we, as researchers, we caution fish which has died for a long time. When you look at the internal organs of a fish which has died for a long time, you'll find they are not fresh, they are flappy and so we discourage people from eating that kind of fish. But in normal circumstances, a fish which has just immediately died or is dying, and you can see the fish is moving, that fish is not bad for consumption. There's no poison in this fish, because we have done tests and we have found that the fish which has died in Lake Victoria has not died from any poisoning or things like heavy metals. So if the fish has immediately died, there's no problem in terms, it's safe for consumption.
All right. Thank you so much. That is the director at the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Institute talking to us about the situation in Lake Victoria. James Njiru, asante sana for joining us here on KTN News Center, bringing me to the end of News Center. My name is Brenda Zadaradire. I can see Lofty Matambo is ready in studio to bring you a news in Swahili language during Law Mashinani that begins at 11 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. To the men and the women behind the scene who make News Center a success, asanteni sana.